Tibbetts. We end at the beginning. Richard is a freshman. He hails from Tewksbury, Massachusetts, and is majoring in communication and rhetorical studies. His dream job is to host a political satire TV show like The Daily Show or The Colbert Report. As will be clear from his performance, Richard has loved public speaking ever since he was a child. The title of Richard's speech is Love the Way You Lie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I consider us to be friends. And as friends, there's something you should know about me. I love words. In fact, I love them so much that on warm Sunday afternoons, you can find me cradling an Oxford dictionary with an Arnold Palmer by my side. On those days, I gently flip through its pages, admiring the enormous vocabulary at my disposal. With that in mind, you can only imagine my excitement when on November 16th, 2016, the Oxford Dictionary came out with a new word. But this wasn't just any word, folks. This was its 2016 International Word of the Year. This was a word chosen out of 150 million words of the English language, but this one word represented the mood and ethos of society in 2016 better than any other, and that word is post-truth. It is an adjective that refers to circumstances in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. Folks, when I think about that, when I think about how post-truth is the defining term of our day, two questions come to mind. The first, where is this post-truth coming from? And the second, why should we care? To answer those questions, I'm going to show you a few prominent people who are spreading post-truth, and then I'm going to explain how post-truth affects everyday people like ourselves. So let us begin with our first post-truther, Sean Spicer. He is the current press secretary of the White House, and a man who I assume is terrible at first dates. I say that because on January 21st, 2017, in his first press briefing with the public, he lied straight to our faces. See, rather than give a warm welcome to the journalists in his midst, he instead gave them a thorough tongue lashing, accusing major news organizations of falsely portraying Donald Trump's inaugural crowd size. Spicer said, "This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period." Well, the Washington, D.C. Metro disagreed. And on the day of the inauguration, they posted figures to their website showing all-day subway ridership from 4 a.m. that Friday until midnight. The figures showed that on the day of Donald Trump's inauguration, all-day subway ridership was 570,000. But when we compare that figure to the two previous inaugurations, it becomes significantly dwarfed. Take, for example, Obama's second inauguration, where all-day subway ridership was 782,000. And on the day of his first, it was 1.1 million. So according to the facts, it's clear that Press Secretary Spicer was caught in a lie. But still, one very significant person stuck by his side, and that person is current counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway. See, Conway loves words just like I do, and when she came to the defense of Press Secretary Spicer, she, like the Oxford Dictionary, created new ones. In a January 22nd, 2017 interview with Meet the Press, she said that Spicer wasn't wrong in his assessment of the crowd size, he was merely presenting alternative facts. And what are alternative facts? Well, it's a form of post-truth, but the definition is a little different. The Urban Dictionary defines alternative facts as a fancy way of saying bullshit. And if you're yearning for some bullshit, look no further than the Bowling Green, Kentucky massacre. In a February 2nd, 2017 interview with Chris Matthews, Kellyanne used this alleged massacre as justification for Donald Trump's Muslim ban. The only problem is, it never happened. Yeah. In fact, the Washington Post published an article the following day stating, and I quote, "There has never been a terrorist attack in Bowling Green, Kentucky, ever." So I'm sure you're wondering, how could anyone do such a thing? How can any sane person cite a false massacre on national television? Well, folks, I believe her behavior is the result of trickle-down falsehoods, starting with the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. He's a man who's made so many false claims, it's hard to choose which one to examine, so let's take a look at his most recent. On March 4th, 2017, President Trump tweeted, "Terrible, just found out Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism." Folks, when I read that, I was shocked. But no more shocked than the current FBI Director, James Comey, who on March 20th, 2017, told the House Intelligence Committee that neither the FBI or the Department of Justice have any information to support Trump's wiretapping accusations. And still, Trump has yet to either refute or apologize for his accusations of former President Obama. And as a result, according to a March 28, 2017 CBS News poll, nearly 2/3 of Republicans believe that it is either likely or very likely that the wiretapping actually took place. Now, after analyzing all that information, I ask you, why does post-truth matter? Why should we care? We should care because post-truth pollutes public discourse. How can citizens have proper educated debates if they can't even agree on what information is real and what is false? Furthermore, we should care because having access to accurate information leads to informed voter decisions. How can we make choices to pick better solutions that will encourage the betterment of our reality if our own government is obscuring it? And lastly, we should care because truthfulness is foundational to a healthy democracy. If we cannot trust our leaders to tell us the truth, then what becomes of our faith in the system as a whole? Put simply, it rots and decays. Now, before I end, I'd like to tell you a quick story. When I was in 7th grade, I was required to take a class called Research. As you can probably infer from the name, the class dealt with how to find accurate information and how to cite properly. I and the rest of my class were taught not only the dangers of plagiarism, but also the consequences of publishing false information. As a 7th grader, I was expected to find credible sources and double-check them before handing in any and all assignments. Now, just so you catch the significance of that, allow me to repeat. I was expected to find credible sources and double-check them as a 7th grader. Folks, I truly believe that if that same basic expectation is demanded of people like Sean Spicer, Kellyanne Conway, and Donald Trump, we may very well enter a brand new world. One where the word of the year is no longer post-truth, but rather fact check. Thank you.